morning, kids. After the official Parliament investigation found that Boris Johnson did in fact lie to Parliament when he said that no rules had been broken in Downing Street during lockdown, if he'd still been an MP, Parliament would have needed to vote to approve that report for him to be suspended. And tonight, Tory MPs did not vote to approve that report. 225 out of all 352 Conservative MPs chose not to vote at all, because they think that by not voting at all, they can avoid being blamed by either Boris Johnson's fans or normal people. But here's what they don't understand.
Not making a decision is a big decision.
In 2019, every single Conservative MP stood on an election manifesto to make Boris Johnson Prime Minister, which leaves them two options. Either they knowingly put a criminally immoral liar in charge of 70 million people for their own political gain, or they're such bad judges of character that 3 years after saying this man should be at the top of Parliament and running the country, they can't even raise their hands to say he should be a member of Parliament. So don't let anybody distract you with the 7 Johnson suckers that chose to oppose the report, because not making a decision is an equally big decision. Similarly, don't let anybody distract you with the minority of Tory MPs who voted to approve Boris Johnson's suspension, because as I said, they all backed him in 2019. They haven't learned anything new about him. Oh, he's a liar? He got fired twice for lying when he was a journalist. Oh, he's disrespecting Parliament and breaking the law? Well, in 2019, the Supreme Court found that he unlawfully shut down Parliament. Oh, but we didn't know that he'd be irresponsible when it comes to a pandemic. In 2018, the top medical authority in the UK said that a no-deal Brexit would make us more vulnerable to pandemics. And here's what he said in 2019.
I think it's a great shame that we've missed the opportunity to come out at no deal.
We also didn't know that he was the sort of person to try and use intimidation techniques to silence a political opponent like he did with this investigation. And yet here he is in 2019 telling MPs that if they didn't want to get murdered, their best option was to back his Brexit deal. All of the elements that prove that Boris Johnson is human garbage were public knowledge long before those Tory MPs chose to make him our Prime Minister. So let me ask you a question. A teacher comes into school with a tiger in a cage. He opens that cage and lets the tiger run riot among the kids. After it's done its damage, eventually that tiger gets removed. But do you still trust that teacher with your kids? The Tories knew exactly what Boris Johnson was when they made him our Prime Minister, and people have paid for that with their lives and livelihoods. And now that the tiger is left, of its own accord by the way, they don't even have the moral integrity to say that tigers shouldn't be in schools. Have a great week.